This is the iRacers Lounge, featuring the latest iRacing news, driver interviews, race reviews, opinions, discussions, rumors, and more. Now here's Alan Pajari and Mike Ellis. Maybe, Carlos, you can just key up, briefly, and Alan will see it, and that'll be his cue.
All right, let's go. Welcome to iRacers Lounge. I'm your host, Alan Pajari. iRacers Lounge is a podcast for the iRacer where we talk all things iRacing in a casual setting. With me here is my usual crew of Mike Ellis and Carlos Fonseca, Brian Kozer, Jeff Walton, and today we got a couple of special guests. We got Logan Clampett and Kevin O'Keefe. Welcome, guys.
Hi,
thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. Now, Kevin, let's kind of start with you since I know you got a time constraint here. When did you start iRacing, and how did you hear of it?
I heard about iRacing probably when it first came out. I was a student in law school. Right when I got my first job offer as an attorney, I picked up the phone, got the job offer, I accepted the job offer. Next thing I did was sign up for iRacing. That was January 2009.
So you've been on it for a long time then. So how often do you race?
Well, now because I'm married with a kid and a full-time trial attorney job, I've just focused in the iRacing NASCAR Series Fixed. So I try to race every Thursday and just make that my iRacing for the week. Okay, so you normally run the NIS, and I think you also might run a Sunday race too, right? Is that correct? Yeah, if something happens on Thursday, like I crash or something, I'll drive on Sunday. So the big thing is I have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/RuckersKev. That's pretty popular. I have like 4,000 subscribers or something. And people watch my videos. Mostly they watch it at work, right? So if I crash out on Thursday night and only make a 5-minute video, I feel bad for my viewers. I want to give them their entertainment. So I'll race the Sunday night race. All right. What type of wheel and pedals do you use there? I just upgraded to a Vanek Club Sport wheelbase of Volume 2 with the version 2 with the GT rim.
Nice.
And I have the Club Sport V2 pedals. But I was using a G25 up until just recently.
How big a difference is that jump? I mean, did you get faster?
I wouldn't say you get faster. Okay, if I raced road more, I would say you'd be faster with the pedals. But it feels like I'm driving a real car instead of driving a toy. The difference in the wheelbase, a loan, makes it a good purchase. But for the simple fact of the matter is that it's really expensive. So it's not for everybody. Yeah, but I believe the V2 uses a belt-driven motor instead of gear-driven, so it should be a lot smoother. And for comparison between the G25 pedals and the V2s are a big difference there. So how many monitors do you have there, Kevin? Well, again, I have the luxury of having a wife who has a decent job, and I'm an attorney. So when I moved to New Jersey in January 2013 and bought a house, I said, you know what, I'm just going all out. So I got an Obuto and 3 monitors, 24-inch.
Nice.
Yep. And what's your most memorable iRacing moment, Kevin? I won the Indy 500 on fuel in 2012, and that's definitely my proudest achievement in iRacing. And there was nobody home when it happened. My wife was away, and I don't really have a lot of friends on iRacing. I don't have a team. I don't have a TeamSpeak channel to cheer into. So it was very much screaming in my house. And unfortunately, I didn't have any milk at home, so it was just me cheering around and looking like a dork.
Yeah, the neighbors probably thought you lost your mind.
Yeah, it was the only one. And then, of course, you call your father or something, and then he goes like, okay, so you won a video game.
They don't get it, do they?
No, they don't.
Kevin, how did you come up with your Twitch and YouTube name, Rutgers Kev? I got an idea, but I want you officially to let us know.
Well, I'm not very good at original names. So when I went to Rutgers, I graduated in 2005. I played online poker, and my online poker name was Rutgers Kev. And I actually met some really good friends just having the name Rutgers Kev because it's like, hey, I also go to Rutgers. So because of that, that's my email account, so that's my Twitch name, that's my YouTube account, that's my name, that's my online name from now on.
That sounds a lot like me. I use the same name for everything.
Yep. And when did you start streaming your races?
I started streaming because I wanted to get into this game, Star Wars: The Old Republic, when it first came out. And I thought, hey, maybe if we stream our guild events, more people will join the guild. So I upgraded my internet and said, okay, we're going to see if we can do the streaming thing. And turns out Star Wars: The Old Republic wasn't very good. So that was fall, winter of 2011, I think. I mean, no, 2012. And then, no, I actually don't know. So at that time, I wasn't doing much iRacing. So after Star Wars: The Old Republic wound up not stinking, I used streaming to kind of motivate me to iRace. I gave myself a set schedule and said, hey, if I tell my viewers I'm going to be on every Tuesday night at this time streaming this race, and it comes that night at that time, then I need to race. I'm not just going to go, well, I don't like that track. I don't trust my safety rating, et cetera, et cetera. It gave me the motivation to finally race. So that was my first stream was October 2012. That was the Petite Le Mans. You can find that on YouTube. It's really bad quality. It's 480p.
Now, what do you attribute all your viewers, your subscribers to your high account? Is that just from the longevity of your account? It's been 5-6 years, or did you get them all from iRacing, or where'd they all come from?
Yeah, they're all from iRacing. I actually made a separate account just for other games, but so it's all from iRacing. I think it's a couple things. I had a couple exciting moments happen in the beginning of my channel, notoriously the Why Me, and so that got me some popularity. And other than Empty Box, who's not a streamer, I was one of the first people doing it. Nowadays, there's a lot of people streaming, so being on the ground floor kind of helped. Also, sticking to a set schedule, having a personality. I'm not the best person. I'm in the top split, but run middle of the pack at best. But I'm somebody people root for. People tune into my races and have a rooting interest in where I finish. And I guess the fact that I'm likable to a certain degree helps in my longevity.
Yeah, just for the people that don't know, Empty Box is actually Matt Orr on iRacing. So if you happen to see Matt Orr in one of your races, that is Empty Box, and hopefully he might be recording it, and he might be in a race that he puts out there. He's extremely popular YouTube channel. Kevin, since you mentioned the Why Me, where did Why Me come from?
It came from out of frustration. So I was in this league that was hosting a special Daytona 500. And to get into Daytona 500, you had to finish top third in their qualifying races. And it seems like every single qualifying race I would get crashed out. Or something bad would happen in terms of bad luck. I was definitely one of the faster cars. And I was leading or in second place, and the caution came out, and we had a one-lap shootout there at the end, and I got wrecked. So I was just super, super frustrated.
And speaking of the Why Me, why do you call yourself the Cooler?
Oh, so yeah, that hasn't happened so much now that I'm in a top split with better drivers. But for some strange reason, guys are able to control their car the entire race until they get around me, either in front of me or behind me. Cars just seem to wreck around me. Notoriously, Shane Van Gisberg is a V8 supercar driver, and he was in a fixed or NIS fixed at Pocono, and he's just driving around and crashes himself in turn one just because he got close to me. So the movie the Cooler, the guy gives people bad luck just standing next to them. That's kind of how I feel in iRacing.
Yep, very good movie, William H. Macy. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's a good movie. All right, Kevin, I know sometimes you take a lot of flack in a race about your stream. Does it bother you?
I can't not bother you. You kind of have to let it not bother you. You kind of have to at least make it seem like it doesn't bother you, or they'll just keep it up. There's definitely, if you're going to get into streaming, it's just something you're going to have to accept, unfortunately. There's just a lot of jerks out there, and iRacing's better at handling it because of the sporting code than other games. So I'm glad I'm not doing other games where maybe the people are more hostile. But it's definitely something that I wouldn't have to put up with if I didn't stream. So sometimes you do have to ask yourself, like, is all this worth it? But then you see, like, the great comments in the channel, or how, people were in the hospital for 2 weeks and just put my playlist on, and that's what helped them, pass the time when in the hospital. So the comments like that are keep me going.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. How would you compare the racing, just the racing etiquette, I should say, to what it was a couple years ago?
Boy, that's really hard to say, because a couple years ago I was racing C fixed, and now I'm mostly only racing the NIS. And there's a huge difference because of the length of the race. It's really, really hard to say. There's certain people in this game that will put their cars where they shouldn't go, and they feel like they're entitled to the certain spot, and then they crash, and they lose a minoroscopic part of their I rating, and then they're back next week. In order to go from an A license to a C license, or even you have to be a D license to not race in the NASCAR series. I mean, that's a huge drop. You'd have to wreck almost every corner of every lap for a week to drop that.
Right.
So you will always have those kind of guys, and me, because I'm not going to win a lot of races, I just let them go, and I get a little flack. I get a lot of flack from that. So you definitely have people in this game that are overly aggressive because they're driving a virtual car that they would never do if they were in real life with a sponsor and an owner to answer to.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. So do you think that the safety rating even matters when it comes to the NIS?
It doesn't matter unless you make it matter. Some people hold safety rating in such high regard that any little X matters to them, but no, it doesn't matter. I would make safety rating a lot stricter, but I would keep the requirements wide, especially for the series I run, iRacing NASCAR series, because iRacing NASCAR series, let's face it, is what makes people join the game, and they should have the opportunity to run in it. It shouldn't be what's that expression, like the old boys club or something.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're getting a 4X in every race that you run in, you shouldn't have an A license. And right now you can.
Mike.
Yeah,
I agree with you. I don't even care about SR, because all I run is NIS, just like you. But there's no penalty for it. It's like occasionally during the year I might fall to a B. It's Bristol week, so I'm going to fall to a B, or it's Martinsville. And I don't even care, because next week I'll be an A again. It's not a big deal. And but you're right. But there's other people that take it to even more extreme than I do. So, and I think that's who you're talking about.
Well, there's certain people, and they're new to the game, but they go from a B 4.0 to a C 1.2 and rage about and want to quit the game, right? Meanwhile, they only race C fixed, so it doesn't affect anything that they do. It's just a number on the screen. So those are the people I was talking about, where you really can't You really can't let iRating control your life, but you got to be able to control your car. And there's certain people that can't control their car but still seem to be in the top groups every week.
Yeah. Speaking of the top split, I always watch your races, and you're always in the top split. There certainly is a lot of talking going on. How can you stand all that talking going on, especially all that Larry stuff that was being discussed?
Well, iRacing NASCAR Series is sort of like a league for all intents and purposes. You race with the same people. I'm sure all leagues have their own inside jokes. But unfortunately, this is a public league, so 6 people have their inside jokes, but broadcast it to the 35 of us that are in there, plus all the viewers. If it was me and I wasn't streaming, I would probably just turn it off. But because I'm streaming, people find it entertaining, so I have to leave it on.
Yeah, I have to admit, I enjoy you leaving it on. I like to hear what people say, especially with, I think, your Michigan race when there was an argument between a couple cars very early on about someone being aggressive. And I think we might know who that person is that was aggressive. And so that's always enjoyable to listen to.
Well, it is definitely part of the show. Another advice I would give streamers is just showing up and driving a car is not entertaining to people who are watching. You kind of have to put on a show. And how you do that is up to you. Whether you want to dance on camera or you just want to talk about what movie is coming out. You got to be entertaining, right? But that is entertaining. Them two people arguing is entertaining. So you definitely leave that part in.
Yep, and please don't dance. I don't mind you singing every once in a while, but just don't dance.
Oh, you should see some Twitch streamers, especially late at night.
Okay. What's your favorite oval car to drive on the sim?
Well, that's not a question. It's the sprint car. The A car. If the car was the most popular car in iRacing, my favorite car would be the National Series car, the D car. I like the way that car drives. I like the distance of the races. I like the tracks that they run at, but it's just not popular enough.
Yeah, you got to race where the people are, right?
Yeah, if I was the best D-class driver in the world, I would have half the viewers that I do now.
Yeah, so what's your favorite oval track then?
I like big tracks that are driver tracks. So Kansas would be a good example. It's a track that's really, really tricky to drive. You got to drive that high line and hit the line exactly right every time. You got to be able to control your throttle. But it's a big track. It's not a short track. Short tracks are especially driver tracks because you got to hit the brakes and do things you wouldn't normally do at a mile and a half. But I'm not very good at the short track. So I like big tracks that are driver tracks. Homestead, Kansas. Let's see, Kentucky, Texas, those kind of tracks.
Yeah, those are my favorite too. What's your favorite road car?
The Corvette with a close second to the C-Spec.
Yeah, I'm just recently driving the Corvette. I really love that car. What's your favorite road track?
I'm not very good at road. I wish I was better. It's really frustrating to practice and not get any better. So my favorite road tracks are the tracks I can drive, which would be the tracks I know. So probably Road America is my favorite track with Suzuka close second.
Okay. Last year you had the privilege of being sent to the Skip Barber School because of the referrals that you got through your channel when people were signing up. Can you tell us a little bit about the experience that you had?
Yeah, so super exciting. It was on a Tuesday, so I had to take a day off of work. And then I kind of had to leave work a little early on Monday. So that didn't make my boss too happy, but that's another story. So I hop in the car after work on Friday. I drive to Skip Barber, and there's a bunch of signs on the I think it's called the Tectonic Turnpike in New York about deer. And I'm like, I don't see any deer. And I'm cresting a hill, so I'm just coming down the hill, and there's a deer sitting right there in the middle of the road, and I'm going 65, 75 miles an hour, and I don't know how I missed him. I hit the brakes and I turned the car, and the car basically almost flipped, and I'm basically almost down a mountain, and I don't know what happened. The car just caught itself, and I kept going, and that was the most dangerous thing to happen the whole weekend. Skip Barber wasn't dangerous at all. So Skip Barber, when you're there for the one-day racing school, they do not time you. You are at the end of the day, you're set off, and you can run the track on your own with a stop on the front stretch. Maybe at some tracks they'll stop in the back stretch. This was at Lime Rock. So because you stop on the front stretch, you won't be at max speed heading into turn one, and there's no time, right? So I said to myself, look, I got nothing to prove. I'm not going to just drive it into a corner harder than I think and lose traction and wreck the car. I'm just going to go out there and have fun. So that's what I did. And I was only one of like two guys who didn't set a wheel wrong the entire day. And I had a lot of fun. It was definitely a experience. And I thank iRacing for giving me the opportunity to go, because I unlikely would have went on my own.
So what actually happens if you wad up a car?
You got to pay for it. So it's $400 for the insurance. And all the insurance does is limit your exposure to $2,000. So you're paying $400 for the privilege to pay them $2,000 if you wreck the car.
Nice.
Yeah. So even though I got the free trip, I still paid the insurance money.
I'm just thinking that's your incentive to keep it off the grass, right?
Right. And and you can see why, and you sign all sorts of waivers, that waive Skip Barber of their liability if you do something stupid. They space the cars out pretty good, except, you're driving a car, you're driving a machine. If you turn it to the right, it's going to go right? So if the turn is a left turn and you go right and you hit the wall, that's on you, right? So you are nose to tail, and during the lead follow sessions where the instructor's in the pace car and kind of drives around the track and you follow him, and every session he gets faster and faster. So you are kind of nose to tail there. So you do have to pay a bit of attention. But other than that, as long as you use your head, I felt very safe. I felt I had a lot more grip than the Skip Barber and iRacing.
Cool. So it must have been a lot of fun for you then.
It's definitely an experience that I would recommend, but it's not for everybody, because it's, what is it, like $1,800 for the one day.
Yep. Do you watch anybody else's channels?
I try to see what's going on out there, or if somebody says, "Hey, you got to check out this video," I'll check it out. I'm into other hobbies, so I use YouTube to catch up on my other hobbies. So there's a lot of channels devoted to my other hobbies, so I watch those while at work instead of iRacing channels. I will check out other Twitch streams, though, and interact with the chat room.
Okay. Speaking about streaming, Carlos and you guys stream. Do you have any advice for the people that want to get started in streaming? It's actually a question for both you and Carlos.
Crap.
Do you want to go first?
I don't even know where to start with this.
Okay, so you're not going to get 50 viewers your first day. It's just something that you're going to have to just accept. And how you get viewers by streaming is just being a regular streamer at a regular time, doing a regular thing. If you hop around to, on Monday night, you are hopping around from session to session and then car to car, and nobody knows what's going on, then you're not going to get a following. But if you say, on Monday night, I'm going to practice for my race, that's on Tuesday night, and then Tuesday night, I'm going to race, and then Thursday night, I'm going to practice for my race, that's Saturday, and then Saturday, I'm going to race. People know, when they're bored on a Saturday night, then they say, "Hey, I know that Logan is racing. Let me see what he's up to on Twitch." You've got to have a thick skin when you do get popular, because if it's not the chat room, it's something else. I've had things in my personal life that have come up because I'm streaming. Like, people have bothered me in my personal life. Sometimes you get hate mail because my email address is out there. Sometimes you get nasty comments on the YouTube. You just got to have a thick skin and just know that comes with the territory.
It's typical trolling.
Yeah, you got to have a personality. If it's you look at the most popular streamers on Twitch, Matt Malone has a personality. He's definitely not the best road racer in the service. He will admit that himself. He's trying to go 10 races without an incident. And
good luck.
But he's entertaining. He makes the races fun to watch, and that's something you need to do. However way you want to do it. Everybody's personality is different.
Yeah, just let me break in for the people that don't know who Matt Malone is. He's Showdown 1983 on YouTube and Twitch. He's the Grip TV. He started that, founder, and so he has several drivers under the Grip TV nation, and he does a wonderful, wonderful job of providing a show, just like Kevin said. So go ahead, Kevin.
In terms of hardware, you don't need much of a computer than you think. I would recommend you at least give it a go if you have an upload speed greater than 2. If your upload speed is greater than 2 MB and you get decent frames in iRacing when you normally stream, I think you should give it a try. I think it requires less hardware than you think.
Okay. Carlos, got anything to add to that?
Hell, I don't know. It pretty much covered a lot of what it takes to stream, but really the most important thing was the internet connection of upload speed. I learned that the hard way last year. I mean, I used to stream. I streamed a few races last year, then that issue I had with Comcast and their lousy connections, and I wasn't able to stream anymore, but that's pretty much all there is. And the chat, if you get anyone, I rarely did. I rarely had anyone watch my videos, so that might have contributed to me stopping, but I guess that's one thing to do. Don't quit. If just because you don't get any viewers, eventually you will. That's pretty much all I can add.
Yeah, it's something that I've thought about doing, and I've had people tell me that they would like me to do it. I do have a 27 meg upload speed, so I'm fast, but yeah, one of the things I am concerned about, though, is, will I be lagging because of it? So I just haven't tried it. So maybe I should.
Hell, if you have a 27, you should be good to go.
Well, yeah, 27 up, you'd be fine. That's more than me. I have 20.
I have 10.
Okay, now, Kevin, I think there was one thing last year that you mentioned during a race, and I've always been kind of fascinated on this statement. You said that one thing that everyone has on the sim is a reputation. You said either you're the wrecker guy, or you're the guy that lets people go, or you're the guy that always says I'm sorry type of guy. So what type of reputation would you like to have?
Well, I let my racing speak for itself, but it just doesn't seem to get you anywhere. Everyone knows, I would hope, that I'm pretty respectful and don't do anything out of the ordinary, and if somebody's faster than me, I will let them go. But if you make one mistake, they'll flame you in voice chat to no end. So I want it to be something where it's a give and take. But at the same time, I know my reputation is I'm going to be, if you drive close to me, you're going to be on YouTube, and then you're going to be YouTube famous. And I think that's just something I have to deal with. And but that was a good point that you made. I think I'm a special exception because I stream. and people know if they say or do anything, it's going to be on video. I think people know if they watch my channel who people are. People know, Zebra Car, for example, of the 2014 season, right? People know who Zebra Car is, and they know him. They know him by name. And you see some of my other videos where people get like really mad at me. Kentucky this year was a really good example where somebody basically wrecked me and said, you did the same thing to me. But I had no idea who he was or what he was talking about. I think if you can be, I know that guy. That guy's fast. I'm gonna let him go. Or, I know that guy. That guy's dangerous. I'm gonna let him go. Right? Which reputation would you want?
Yeah, that's exactly. Everyone would want the nicer reputation, but a lot of people don't have it.
No, it's unfortunate. It ties back to the safety rating thing.
Yep, that it does. And then for your last question, so we can let you go and let you deal with your computer issues that you're working on so you can practice for your Bristol race, is besides the time constraint, how has being a father changed you?
Well, I'm lucky I have a great wife. I couldn't do it without her, right? But I do it without her because she travels every other week. So I'm Mr. Mom and taking care of the baby. I tell you, when you pick him up at daycare and he sees you and his eyes all get wide and he's happy to see you and stuff like that, right? There's stuff like that you really can't. You can't get that emotion anywhere else. I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, Kevin, we're going to let you go, and we're going to move on to Logan. So thank you for being on, Kevin. Really appreciate it. And, of course, you're invited to be back anytime. And we'll love to have you on. I'll be obviously watching your races, and maybe after you pull off that win, we'll have you on so you can celebrate it with
Good
everyone.
luck at Bristol tonight.
Yeah, well, I'll need it for Bristol. I get lapped under green at this place with top split guys. The top 1% of iRacing is sort of like the wealth of the world. How the 50 wealthiest people in the world are richer than the top half or something. That's how it is in iRacing, man. The guys who are at the very top are just out of this world fast.
Yep, I agree.
So a cheap plug here. If you want to find me, just type Rutgers Kev into Google. RUTGERS. You'll find YouTube, Twitch, any other thing I do that involves my hobbies, whether it's Hearthstone or board gaming or anything.
All right, cool. And also, better luck to you at Darlington this year than you had last year.
Seeing how this Bristol practice is going, I don't expect Darlington to be any better. That's a race where if I wasn't streaming, I would skip it.
Yeah. All right. So thank you very much.
Take care.
Appreciate that. Yep. And
all right, thanks for having me on. Take care.
You bet.
Yep. Bye-bye. All right. Let's talk to one of these 1%ers, Mr. Klimpet.
Oh, he's
Hello.
in that group, isn't he?
Yes, he is. All right, Logan. So when did you start iRacing?
I started in March 2013. My friend showed me iRacing on Skype, shared his screens, and I'm like, oh god, this looks like a really fun game, and I tried it out, and it was really fun. I totally recommend it.
Yeah, so how often do you race?
I usually race every week, every other week. It depends how I feel, if I want to race or not, or just hang out, listen to music. It depends.
Okay, what series do you normally run in?
I normally run C-Fixed a lot. I won the championship last season.
Okay, cool. And what else do you run then?
I run B Open every other Tuesday, which is live on PSR TV. This week at Bristol, I didn't race though, which I should have.
Yeah, we actually cover that usually on our podcast, that B series that's televised.
Yep, and I do want to mention that we do have someone in here that won the Split 2 on Monday night with us, which is Brian. Brian, congratulations on that win.
Thank you. That was a lot of fun to get that win, especially here at Bristol.
And that's your second career win, right?
Second career win and first Xfinity Series win, so that B Open is a lot of fun to run in on a weekly basis.
And I can tell you're practicing right now. Logan, what type of wheel and pedals do you have?
I just use the normal G27 and G27 pedals. I'm missing one clamp on my G27 though, which is kind of difficult to drive with, but I'm dealing with it till I can find a new one.
Okay. Do you use triple monitors or just single?
No, just a single 27-inch monitor. It's a basic setup. Nothing too out of the world.
I'm trying to figure what it is about a lot of you guys that are so fast. You guys got the kind of the cheaper wheel and the single monitor. I don't know how you guys do it.
Yeah, I mean, I really want to upgrade to an Abuto here pretty quickly because my setup is pretty bad right now. I at least want that and try and find a new G27 clamp.
Yeah. Do you participate in any leagues?
Yeah, I participate in All Pro Racing. They do a lot of work over there. They're going to sponsor me in the Pro Series. I race. I also race Sim Racing Authority and Bar.
Okay. I've heard of all those three leagues. They're good leagues. Are you part of a team?
I am on Dead Zone Racing with Alan Bowes, Ryan Lowe. There's a lot of pro drivers over there, like Shane Doherty, Brandon Hoff, all those guys.
Okay, yeah, that sounds like a very good team. Very, very good guys to race with and to be part of a team with there. What's your most memorable iRacing moment?
I still remember the day I won my first win. That was really exciting. I was screaming and stuff, but when I win, it's not really a big deal. I remember I was on Road to Pro and I won A Open. I was pretty excited for that too.
All right, so let's talk about that a little bit. Logan, you're one of the lucky few that got invited to the Pro Series. How did all that come about?
It came along great. In season 1, I was ineligible, so I took a shot at season 2, and I got 5th in points. It was really fun. I was on Wicked Autosports throughout season 1 and some of season 2. Then I moved to Lockdown Racing.
Okay. And then, so did you win a bunch of races to be able to get 5th in points, or just nice, consistent finishes?
I won a couple, but it was usually all top 5s is where I got to the top 10 in season 1 and season 2 in A Open.
Okay, so when does the Pro Series start up for you guys?
It starts up, I think the end of November, and then it goes through the beginning of January.
Okay, so how many races is that?
They said 10 to 12 weeks. It's going to be on LSR TV every Tuesday at 9 Eastern.
So that's that's the same time slot as the B series, right? So they just kind of do that in the off. That'll be the next thing after the B series.
Yeah, pretty much. But they don't. PSR TV only streams Peak and B Open.
I see.
Not LSR TV. Laura Lawson. They stream the Pro Series.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, and Peak is going to be off by that time. They're going to be done for their season.
Right. We're planning on getting our license after the Peak Series.
Okay, so for the Peak Series, the top 20 are going to automatically move on to next season, and so anybody that's not in that top 20 is going to be running in the Pro Series. And so these are the type of people that you're going to be running with, correct?
Yes.
So are you really looking forward to the opportunity? And also, what do you think your chances are to be in the top 20 to be able to move up into the Peak Series?
I can't wait for it. There'll be a lot of cautions though. I just gotta survive and hopefully get top 15s every week to get to the top 20. If I don't, then top 20 gets your Division World Championship license, and then 21st through 30th you keep your pro license, but you have to qualify with other pros into the races. It's going to be 41st through 43rd.
So do you have a team of guys you're setting up, like a spotter and a crew chief, that are going to work with you on these pro races, or?
Yeah, I'm going to have a spotter and crew chief. I'm not sure who, though. Once it gets near October, so then I think we'll discuss that.
Nice.
All right. That's a good deal for you. We're wishing you all the luck there, Logan, on making the Peak Series.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that's so competitive, and yeah, congratulations for getting as far as you have already. You know, it's quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and let's speak a little bit about the Peak Series. Last week they were at Watkins Glen, and Nick Ottinger won his second race in a row, dominating performance. Did you happen to see that at all, Logan?
I was on vacation at the time, but I watched the last, I'd say 7 or 5 laps. I was pretty happy for Nick. I thought he was going to be in the Pro Series because of his luck this season, but he's won the last 2 races. I'm pretty proud of him because he's one of my good buddies.
Yep, he did awfully well last 2 races, and to be able to dominate over Humpy and Conti like he did was a very good race. There was some controversy about the qualifying, though. The announcement to start qualifying actually went over the spectators channel, so only the drivers that had people spectating actually knew when to start qualifying. And so there was actually a couple cars that received a 1-lap penalty for that race. And as you guys know, for Watkins Glen, where there's no cautions, 1-lap penalty instead of like just a end of line penalty was really demoralizing for these 2 drivers that got that.
Why did they get the penalty?
Because it was a timing issue of when they can go and when they can't, and so
They went prematurely or something?
yeah, they went prematurely because they were sitting there waiting, and the time was starting to come down, and so then they went, and I guess it was premature. So yeah. So that's but that's a little bit of controversy there for Watkins Glen. But otherwise, it was a good race, and it was a good thing, and hopefully next year we're watching Logan in that series, racing that. All right, Logan, I know you don't do NIS stuff, but we're going to talk a little bit about Watkins Glen NIS. Mike, how'd your races go?
Yeah, I was in second split on the 6th, and look at the entry list, and Shane Van Gisbergen was in there, and he drives the supercar V8s in Australia. Real race car driver, and I'm like, okay, we know who's going to win, and he actually did. He was super fast, and obviously schooled everybody in there. I think, Carlos, you had some run-ins with him, didn't you?
I wasn't in that race. I think it was Alan.
That would be me.
Oh, so Alan, you got ran over.
I got ran over. I was on the radio there, letting everyone know I was going to pit. And as you know, coming out of that last turn, you want to kind of hug the inside and let the outside go. I was doing that. I was on the 30 lap field run. I was on my last lap there, so I was puttering to get in, and apparently Shane either did not hear me or really wanted the inside, so he punted me. And it was I was still lucky to be able to pit, but I lost a lot of time and lost a lot of stuff, and of course I lost my composure and sped out of the pits and then had to come back in and stuff. But so yeah, that race wasn't very good. But Carlos, you can talk about your win.
Did we do that last time? And I don't know. I'm always happy to talk about it. That's the only win I'll probably get in a long time, but you know how that went. It's just
you
quite
won
fun.
the Wednesday before our last record, I think, at the Watkins Glen race, right? Yeah, I had a horrible week myself. I finished 21st and 25th in open and fixed, and I parked it for the week because I was just not good. I don't know what my deal was. It's definitely going to be a drop week.
That's what's going to happen for me here. Bristol.
All right, let's talk about Michigan. Michigan, there was a lot of good races that went on. A lot of fuel strategy races, good long green runs. It was a lot of fun. I actually did 4 races myself. Had 3 decent finishes. The best one was in the open race on Friday night, where I was able to still take a damaged car and still run pretty fast, which I was pretty happy about. So anybody else want to say how they did at Michigan?
Well, I got mixed results, but my best was 12th in the open, and that gave me 129 points, which makes it a good result for me. So overall, I left Michigan happy, and it was ready to move on to Bristol.
I don't know about Michigan for me. I enjoy Michigan. It's my favorite track if you ask me, because I'm always up there at the front and had a really solid shot to win that race on Wednesday and Thursday, but 2 things went wrong for me. Just bad strategy.
Yeah, Logan, you should give more of the NIS. I know your last one you said was Kentucky that you done. You should get more of this run, whether it's either open or fixed. It's a lot of fun, I think.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. Yeah, I mean, I'm practicing for Bristol. I'm still deciding whether to do it or not. But maybe I will, maybe I won't. But it's Bristol, cautions, all that stuff.
Yeah, I kind of consider Bristol kind of like a roll of the dice, whether you're going to be in the wreck or not, So it doesn't necessarily have anything with your driving ability. It's so hard to stop there. Sometimes you think that everyone's going to wash down the track and they don't, or you go low and everyone washes down the track. It's just it's a crapshoot if you ask me.
Yeah, I usually race. They call it NISB Open. But the last time I raced that was the Glen, and I got 5th.
All right, and Mike, you want to talk about the point standings?
Well, yeah, just briefly, NIS point standings in the Open. Overall, I wanted to point out a couple notables, including myself. I'm running 19th. Wow, top 20. But also a friend of the show, Jason K. Miller, is in 2nd in points behind Chuck Sweeting, our point leader.
All right, way to go, Junior, there.
Yeah, way to go. Go get that lead.
Yep. Logan, you do any road racing?
No, not really. Sometimes I just hop into random road races just for the fun of it, but I usually wreck out. I do a lot of Mazda Cup, though. My favorite track it's either Okayama or Summit Point. One of those two. I can't really choose in between.
Okay. While we're on your favorite track, what's your favorite oval track?
My favorite oval track, I have to say, it's probably Atlanta. I really like Atlanta.
Oh yeah.
Really fast.
Yeah, I really love Atlanta. It's a fun track. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the new Blancan GT series that they got coming out. And Season 4, the Blancan GT Endurance Series, is going to be the qualifier for the 2016 Blancan GT Series, which is they're going to be their new pro team series that we've been discussing. And so just to let you guys know a little bit about the things, you have to declare your team. You have to declare what car you're in. You have to do that by sending an email to worldchamp@iracing.com. And you have to list out, like I said, the car, your team members, and make sure you have their
And it has
customer
to be
IDs on there.
formatted a certain way and all this stuff. So there's a lot of different rules. You guys really need to read them if you're interested, but we just wanted to summarize that a bit.
Yep, you can have up to 4 drivers on your team, but you need at least 2. So 2 to 4, and there's only going to be
for each start. You have to have 2 drivers for each during each race at a minimum.
Right, and so there's going to be 6 races. That's going to be over the 12 weeks. There has been proposed which 6 to drive, but this has only been proposed by the group.
By the community,
and,
right,
yep,
to iRacing, so.
Yep, so nothing's official, but it's proposed to be like Monza, Road Atlanta, Brands Hatch, Zolder, Silverstone, and Spa. I love 5 of them. I can't stand Silverstone, but I love 5 of those tracks. So hopefully that's what they do. But Mike, you guys got a team, right? Tell us a little bit about
We've been
your
organizing. We've submitted for 2 cars now. Car A is going to be the BMW led by Carlos. With Lance Gentles, Brad Miller, and Jose Pabon. And car B is going to be the McLaren with myself. And who else is running with me?
Brian?
Brian Kozer, right?
Matt Boley.
And Matt Boley. And we're doing 3 people on that team. So, and then we're potentially putting together a 3rd car with Jeff Walton and Justin Fate.
Okay. I submitted a team for our 1UP endurance team, which is just going to be myself, Jason K. Miller, and Colton Landis in the McLaren. And so we're going to give it a go, through our hat in the ring. I'm not expecting to make pro, but it should be fun to try.
Yeah, we're not expecting that either, but we like to make them earn it, you know? They got to have lap cars, right?
Yeah, they got to have lap cars. But normally we're like in the second split, I think, for this, at least this season, endurance, and we're actually been doing pretty good. We're not a lap car, but you got to be in top split to even have a shot at this thing, and we're not there, especially at our iRating. So, but it should be a lot of fun. So anyways, they did also list some stuff about next year's season and when the races will be. It's going to last basically from April through September of next year. And this will all be on their Pro Series, and you can read about that when you look at the thing. They also offering up cash prizes, and you can read about all their cash
Real
prizes.
cash.
Yep, real cash, and they got some game credits too for like drivers' championships and manufacturing championships. So it's actually a lot of money down there.
Yeah, so the driver or team championship is $6,000 split amongst the drivers. The team.
Yep. So go get it. They're pro drivers. So I wonder if Gregor Hutu will try for this.
There's a forum post about who's throwing their hat in the ring. I haven't seen his name listed yet, but there's quite a bit of teams with some really good, very highly rated road drivers.
All right. Also, I just want to let you guys know you can check this out in the forums on the league section about the NES and the GES. They're starting their endurance season 2's season's coming up here, and you guys can check them out on the forum. Excuse me. GES is actually a lower class endurance series where if you're one of the top 5, I believe, after the season, you'll get an automatic invitation to the NES, which is a higher rated guys. There is a iRating minimum that you must have.
Isn't there also
for this? Yeah, and there's an entry fee that is with this, but they are a very good league. I wish Kevin was still on, but Kevin was part of the NES last year, and I raced in the GES last year, and that was a lot of fun. A very good league, both of them are very professionally ran leagues, I should say. So if you're interested in that, go check them out on the forums. All right, here's something that maybe Logan might have some knowledge about, which is, why don't you explain this a little bit, Mike? You might have put this on.
Yeah, it's about brake fade, and there was a forum post discussing this, and Eric Kudek from the iRacing staff, who actually does all the dynamics for the cars, he basically confirmed, which I didn't really know, so I wanted to bring this up. We do have brake fade in iRacing. And here's what he says: we already have dynamic braking friction in the sim. If the brakes get too hot, pad friction reduces and braking performance degrades. Also, in fact, most of the pads in our model start out with relatively lower grip until they come up to temperature.
Oh, that makes sense. Found that out, I guess. I had a little touch of that yesterday in that GT3 race I did. I guess it wasn't just me.
Well, I remember a year ago, and I can't recall what track, I swear there was brake fade, and people were telling me, oh, there's no such thing, you know, but I think I've experienced this before.
Logan, you know anything about this?
No, I don't, actually.
Yeah, me neither. So it is interesting that that it does do that, which is good, actually. But, you know, a lot of times in races when you see people like going back and forth before they start the race or during the restart, you see them like warming up their tires type of thing.
Right.
Well, I've always heard that, you know, that how that really doesn't help your tires. But what you should do, though, is to use some of your brakes. Yep, warm your brakes. And so this would fall right into it. So I guess it,
makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, very interesting. I had no idea that that was the case, really, you know, but now we know officially.
Yep. Mike, you want to talk about the next subject there?
Well, you know, this is a reoccurring theme. I'll just bring it up quickly, but people asking for money on the forums again. And this time it's actually some real race car driver looking for some big money, like $75,000. So
send
and
that
he's
right
actually
over to
raised a little bit. Looks like he's got $640 so far.
All right. Well, good luck to him. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I still think he's not reaching out to the right group, really, to...
Yeah, you need to find some big money guys that are willing to. Yeah, I wouldn't be looking at the gamers for this type of thing at all. All right, Mike, why don't you go ahead and mention about the next subject too?
Okay, this is new in the last couple of days. It's in the tech news, but basically Intel has been discussing their new chip. It's called Skylake. It's the new, you know, how they have the different Haswell and different kinds of class of processors. Well, the new class is called Skylake. And what we've learned so far is Skylake processors will simultaneously support 3 4K monitors at 60 hertz. So Intel is working on a embedded graphics package right for their chip that supports 3 monitors, just like we like, but at that 4K resolution. Very interesting. I thought I would mention that. The other thing that was interesting is during this conference, this Intel Developers Conference that they're having, iRacing was actually involved in one of the presentations. They demonstrated a racing rig here running iRacing with what's called VRX, which is powered by this new Skylake processor. VRX is like a camera system, kind of like the Microsoft Xbox camera system. It has 3 little cameras, and it points at your face, and apparently somehow changes your view based on where you're looking, kind of thing.
So a lot like Track IR, but better.
Yeah, like Track IR, exactly. So, but it's going to be more, you know, built by Intel, you know, and not just for iRacing, but all games, you know, lots of different games. But it was neat to see that iRacing got involved with Intel at this level and was able to show this off during their developers conference. Really neat.
All right, Logan. While I'm thinking about it, just even though this is kind of off of where we're at, who are your competitors that you're going to be, or that you raced against in the Open to be able to get up there? You can go ahead and name names.
Josh Berry, Dylan Duvall, Ryan Luza, Joey Israelson, a lot of those guys. I have to look at the list again. Oh, and Dylan Rafferty.
Okay. Lots of heavy hitters there.
Yeah, I know Luza is awfully quick and fast. I'm actually surprised he's not a pro already. But yeah, that's a good list. Easter eggs in iRacing.
Yeah, those are those little things you see. Well, what I learned here, I wanted to bring up is you can fly around like a bird in iRacing. If you don't know how, this is how you do it. Put your sim in replay, put it on the chase camera, pause it, do Control F12, Control Z, then spacebar, then use your mouse from that point with the right and left click to move around and fly. And then once you do that, you can start looking for these Easter eggs, and they're just basically things that the iRacing staff has put in the track, like a picture of Dale Earnhardt Jr. in pit road on one of these tracks, or something like that. Another one is at the first left-hander at Lime Rock. If you go out into the runoff there's a land shark, apparently.
That's awesome.
You've seen that, huh, Carlos?
No, it just sounds awesome. Now I need to go check this stuff out.
Yeah, you have to go look for it, right? Apparently, there's another one. There's a yacht at Phillip Island that was modeled, at least to some degree, after John Henry's personal yacht. Even the teakwood deck was put in, apparently.
Yeah, I know I've heard about Dale Jr. and one of the iRacing staff members, I forgot which one, that they're at every track. So if you look around, so if you look around, you can find them at every track. And I just forgot who the member was, or the staff member, but yeah, you can find them. They're out there. And so there is a post in the forums about this where people have put down what they have found. My favorite one is the land shark at Lime Rock. I'm going to have to go check that out.
Yeah, and just flying is pretty cool. And so try that. Control F12, Control Z, spacebar, and then use your mouse with the buttons.
All right, our next topic is about when iRacing scans a track and then the track changes. I do know that they've have recently scanned a couple tracks that have changed since iRacing has them out there, which is Pocono. It's supposed to be obviously less bumpy, which can't wait for that Pocono to come out. And I believe Michigan is one. But Mike, why don't you mention what you got here?
Yeah, somebody on the forums found a couple other tracks are changing. The Nordschleife, as well as Le Mans, is changing. They're changing some of the corners around and whatnot. So yeah, it's a curse. A lot of people say that every time they do scan a track, changes happen to that scan before we actually get the track.
Yeah, it seems to be, doesn't it? But which kind of makes me say that, well, you can pop in North Wilkesboro in here and people would still have fun and drive it, and it doesn't matter that it's still around today, because some of the tracks we're driving now aren't around today. Like, for example, USA. USA isn't drivable today.
Right. But, I think what, iRacing, they send staff out to these tracks to scan them. They hope that, they're not going to change before we can get them released, but it seems to happen.
Yep. I am Mike. You want to talk about the CXC simulations product?
Yeah, we talked about these guys a little bit in the last podcast, but there was another new article out in autoblog.com, which is more of a mainstream automobile type magazine that reaches a big audience.
Yep.
But it's a really neat interview. I would check out that video. The host of the show, Jonathan Buckley, actually was trading off between iRacing and actually going and getting in a BMW at Auto Club Speedway and seeing if it helped him, learn the track and where his braking points were and that kind of stuff. And it was interesting to hear what he said about it. He was new to iRacing. It was his first impressions, and it was neat for iRacing to get that exposure too.
Yes, it is. And then, matter of fact, we noticed, one night I noticed that NBC Sports was in a test session or in a hosted session racing at Michigan. And why don't you talk a little bit about what they were doing there, Mike?
Well, as all of our faithful listeners know, I've been begging Eric Hudek and iRacing to implement these Car A changes that NASCAR's been doing at Kentucky and Michigan and Indy with these rule changes, the low downforce, high downforce packages. Hey, I want to race that in the NIS. I've been telling people that. But apparently, iRacing went ahead and built this for NBC for their segment with Parker Kligerman. So Eric Hudek, again from iRacing, confirmed that he did build physics specifically for the high drag data that was given to him for the Michigan Parker Kligerman video thing that they taped for that episode.
All right, so that's pretty neat. I do know that a couple of my teammates actually jumped into their test session and was sitting there racing around them. But yeah,
and they got to experience that package then, apparently.
Apparently, I guess so. How about that? They didn't say that. They were just talking about how they just jumped in NBC.
Well, I'm encouraged that, hey, it's actually doable. They can change the package on the fly, okay? Will they do it for the production races like NIS? Man, I hope so. Tony Gardner was in the thread talking about it a little bit, and I got the impression that he wasn't ready to do that, but they were willing to do it for NBC.
Well, yeah, I would imagine that everything would have to be tested out. I mean, there's a big difference between having a couple of guys on it or a few guys on it compared to
everyone.
Everyone. So yeah, it's I wouldn't expect to see anything like that until they have it fully tested and out ready for a release.
Well, and let's see where NASCAR goes with it, too. I mean, NASCAR seems to be done with their testing of these different packages for the year. What are they going to do next year? Are we going to stick to one package? It might be a moot point after all, so we'll see.
Man, I hope they go with the low downforce.
I think everyone seems to like that, and I think the high downforce was a total disaster, so I don't see any other choice.
Yep. All right, just to let everyone know, Logan kind of came in last minute, and I certainly appreciate it, you coming in. And hopefully you'll want to come back. And but you got any final thoughts, Logan, or anything you want to let us know?
You guys are doing really good on this, and keep it up. I listen to it sometimes. Just keep it up. You're getting up there.
All right, thanks, Logan. But definitely after the Pro Series, once you come on, and we'll talk more Pro Series and more about what you're doing.
Yeah, we'd love to have an insider to give us a weekly or bi-weekly report there. That'd be great.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, appreciate that. Mike, you got any final thoughts?
Not really. Just hit us up. Hey, we're a community. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube, Twitch, you name it. Get us questions, guys. We want to start a mailbag segment and go over what you guys are thinking about out there, our listeners. We know you're out there. We have over 2,500 downloads so far. So, hey, let us know.
All right. Nicholas, any final thoughts?
Who?
All right, Carlos, man of many words there.
No, I just couldn't hear you.
So you have any?
Well, I don't really want to advertise my channel, but iRacing Track Guides, I have to get that out there. If you're having trouble out of track, go check it out. It's iRacing Chewy side on YouTube, or just type in Chewy 785. It'll get you somewhere. Anyways, that's it.
Yeah, I also want to point out that Carlos puts in the forums. He has a new track guide out there, and it's quite obviously that it's helping a lot of people. A lot of times, or sometimes, Carlos isn't the fastest one, doesn't show you the fastest way, but he shows you the correct line on how to run these tracks, and I know a lot of people appreciate it. And then some people have done very well after watching your track guide. So as a community, we should all be thanking you. So thank you, Carlos.
Yep.
Yes, sir. It helps me too. I certainly look at it each week and okay, how do I get around here again? But it really helps you pick out your break points and stuff.
Yeah. Now when we get to Martinsville, you probably don't want to trust my guide there. I'm horrible at Martinsville.
All right, for my final thoughts, I just want to make sure that I thank Kevin O'Keefe and Logan Clampett for being on. Really, certainly appreciate it. We're very excited for Logan and what he's got coming up, and being able to talk to him after the Pro Series starts. If you haven't been able to check out Kevin O'Keefe's YouTube channel or Twitch channel, it's just at Rutgers Kev. And you can find it. He does his NIS races every week. He never misses a week. He is pretty entertaining, and it is top split racing. And even though Kevin isn't the fastest, but it is still a good watch. So if you haven't seen it, watch it. And I certainly want to put a big thank you out for Kevin for being on the show. I appreciate that. But anyway, the goal of the show is to make sure you know more about iRacing than your friends, and hopefully you guys do by listening to this thing. And since we have a crack staff of Mike Ellis searching all the things for us and putting out all the notes, I appreciate that, Mike. Thank you. But there is a myriad of ways to get a hold of us. You can check us out at Twitter at iRacers Lounge, Facebook at iRacers Lounge, subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRacers Lounge, where Carlos graciously puts up the show. And you can bookmark our website at iRacers Lounge. And you can definitely contact me, Alan Pajari, or Mike Ellis, or Carlos Fonseca about being on the show, or questions or topics that you guys want us to discuss. And we'll definitely put them on the show. And but otherwise, it's been fun. So that's it, guys.
See ya.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the iRacers Lounge podcast. Make sure to subscribe to us over on iTunes and Stitcher. See you on the track.